head. He has met what we call the journey with no distance between head and heart. And I think that really contributes to the success of MAPS and will continue to contribute to this. We need a heart-based person at the helm. And I think we've got one in Rick.
Welcome to another edition of Psychedelic Sages, where we provide intuitive insights, truth bust, and service watchdogs and guides for topics around spiritual medicines, more commonly referred to as psychedelics. Welcome everyone to another edition of Psychedelic Sages. I'm Beth Bell.
I'm Stephanie Salt.
And today I'm excited to talk about a topic that we did in our last recording, which was the psychedelic stock market. And you had pulled some cards, Steph, and we saw some really interesting findings, and regulatory came up. And so we had a discussion about the regulatory authorities and what was happening there. And we were looking more at like who is being approved. But what happened after that call, after that last session, that last episode, was we saw that there was actually something seriously happening with the FDA. And I want to read a little bit about what that is. So I want to switch over so that I can show what actually came through email, which I thought was so fascinating right after that reading. Psychedelics Today sent out an email that talked about the DEA reverses scheduling of 5 novel psychedelic compounds. In a rare reversal of fortune, late last week, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration announced that it would withdraw a proposed rule to place 5 novel psychedelic compounds into Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act. The proposed rule, initially filed in January, sought to criminalize the unauthorized possession and production of 5 tryptamines. And this would include the BUFOs, but it's the 5 MEO-DMTs. So psychedelic and scientific communities rallied to protect the status of the compounds in the months following the initial announcement, generating close to 600 largely critical messages during a public comment period. The effort was spearheaded by, and there's a number of individuals who we will probably talk to on the show in future episodes. So the DEA's January proposal to loan 5 tryptamines was made just as NIH was hosting a workshop on psychedelics as therapeutics, and amidst increasing awareness around the government and across the aisle that psychedelics may be some of the best tools we have in medicine, indicating DEA is not only out of step with science, but also with the rest of government. So that made the DEA's abrupt decision to withdraw the proposal last week remarkable and surprising. So that is amazing that you picked up on that in that reading. We were kind of framing it a slightly different, but you were there and you were in the energy on that. What do you think about that new release that just came out?
I was so thrilled. We got this card. We were talking about the psychedelic industry, and we were kind of reviewing the sector as a whole and what is going on in the marketplace. And I did say it was regulatory. We're taking a pause. That's why the shares were going to go down or have gone down. It's because of the lull in the regulatory. And there was some waiting, timing. In the next 4 months, I did say there would be a shift in regulatory. I wasn't sure which compound it was going to be, but I knew it was going to be one of them, because the energy, the cards they don't lie. We always say that the cards don't lie, but it was just showing that it is a pause and that the market will come back very strongly. And I guarantee you, let's keep watching the market, and you're going to see some of these shares spiral because of this.
Yeah. No, I think it makes a huge push for all of psychedelics, that the DEA is opening up to this. So I thought maybe what we could do is take a look at MAPS and pull some cards on MAPS, because MAPS and Rick Doblin are really, and maybe we want to do them even individually. I'm not sure, the organization and Rick separately, because they really are spearheading this. They've been studying MDMA. They've got the phase 3 clinical trial data, and they're the premier leader, if you will, on a lot of things happening psychedelics. So let's see what the cards have to say specific to Rick. Should we start with Rick, or do you want to start with MAPS?
I would like to start with the organization. Let's see what the organization's looking like energetically. They have been playing a humongous role in the upliftment and the education of psychedelics, so that that people understand exactly, and they've done an excellent job,
Yes.
um, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got the cards.
And while you're pulling the cards, if you haven't already seen our episode where we review a snippet from the news media of Rick Doblin many years ago, you'll see just how long he's been at this.
Yeah, ooh, he's been absolutely prophetic,
Yes.
Rick Doblin, but he was using his intuition to really scope out the industry.
Yeah.
And without his foresight, where would foresight and guidance, where would we be? So
Yes.
let's take a look energetically at maps. Any card that you see that you would like to?
Yes. It's just right in the middle. Right in the middle. Right there. Yes, exactly.
Well, there he is. The King
Wow.
of Cups.
Okay.
Couldn't get a better, you know, King of Cups usually rules water. It's usually a water sign person. Be interesting if he really is a water sign, but it also rules the heart. And this is what the compounds do. All of the psychedelics that we've been reviewing are all heart openers, which is what we as humanity need right now. And I think pulling this card is really showing the power of Rick, um, being able to pull all of this together and um, be head of a be the heart of the organization, not necessarily head. He has met what we call the journey with no distance between head and heart. And I
Yeah.
think that really contributes to the success of MAPS and will continue to contribute to this. We need a heart-based person at the helm. And I think we've got one in Rick.
Okay, great. Well, we had originally said we were going to pull the card for the organization, but it did kind of seem like it came out as very specific to Rick. Um, should we pull another card? And is there a particular question that we need to be asking about the phase 3 data, the FDA? Do we want to find out if there's any additional insights we can get around MDMA specifically and the approval for that?
I think we should look at the FDA. Let's look at
Okay.
the energy around the FDA as far as the regulatory environment, because they're really holding the reins
Yes.
and they're really controlling how the market is going to react at this particular point. Which substance is going to be legalized first? And that's going to have a huge impact on which company is going to be successful and which compounds are going to be on the market first. So I think we should absolutely look at the FDA and the energy around some of these compounds.
Okay. Towards your left hand. Up, 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 up. Right there, right there.
Oh my gosh. Look at
Oh, okay. I wasn't
whoa.
expecting that.
Whoa, I wasn't expecting that. That is most positive. By
Yeah.
October, we will see shifts. Guaranteed. There will be 10 substances or potentially 10 substances that could change schedule.
Okay.
So the FDA is going to become a cheerleader, which they need to be. We need a regulatory cheerleader, but
Okay.
it looks like the pressure is going to be for them to move quickly and move forward in a very efficient way. So I'm really surprised to see this,
Yeah.
but the fact that we've got the King of Cups, the maps,
Yeah.
kind of spearheading energetically this, and then we've got the 10 of Cups with the FD. You can't get better than that, Beth.
Yeah.
Energetically,
That's incredible.
not like I said, I'm shocked. I'm
Yeah.
shocked,
So
but I'm happy.
the next, unless there's something more on this, the next thing that comes up is let's pull a card for the pharmaceutical industry specific to mental health, specific to the ones that are going to be potentially, impacted by the FDA really moving these forward.
Yes, that's a great question. Pharmaceutical companies, let's find out where they are as a group, as a sector energetically,
Yeah.
and how they match or mismatch the energy. It'd be interesting to
Yeah.
see. Okay. Pharmaceutical industry, show us where you are energetically. Beth?
Okay, this one's going to be hard to describe, but it's over towards your right hand.
Okay.
Right there, right there,
Here?
that right there.
Unbelievable. I couldn't make this up if I wanted to. That's pretty interesting.
Interesting. Okay, so that is then telling us that they're not going to be trying to stop this?
No, they're going to be trying to be stars in the playing field.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're trying
Well,
to be stars. Now, this is very interesting that we pull this card. This is the card of Aquarius, which is the age that we're going into. So the pharmaceutical companies are really trying to take an enlightened view. And you know, that's not my view personally, but I really see that the energy has shifted. This is the card of the humanitarian. Um, they're being led, but I think they're being led by a higher energy that's
yes.
that's controlling the what's the word, the soul of that sector in general. But you're going to see by the time of Aquarius, which is January, no, the end of January to the end of February, you're going to see major shifts within this industry, and I guarantee you're going to see a lot of new companies coming in. There'll be a lot of mergers and acquisitions,
Yeah.
but it's going to be to really help people. They're going to
Yes.
be cure oriented. We've talked about this before, but you couldn't get a better card. It's very interesting how positive this actually is. But again, you're going to see the shares go up. And I've said this before, the shares of these companies are going to go up between October and January, February. You're going to see the market swing up.
Okay, but I have a clarifying question then, because if the companies as they are now are going to start increasing in their share price, the last reading we also were getting that there's going to be a lot of mergers and acquisitions at the lower share price. Is that what
Yes,
you were saying?
that's
So
true.
if you've already bought in, I mean, the share prices aren't going to, if they get acquired, then they're acquired, and there's, the share prices of the companies that acquire them may be going up, but that
Yes.
particular company that's acquired isn't going to, because they're not going to be that company anymore.
That's true, but there's going to be a lot of consolidation. You're going to see 8 major players. Here's 8 stars, but
Mhm.
one, if this could be Maps that is guiding the whole thing, or it could be a a mega company that's going to be the light at the end of the tunnel. And I suspect we're going to see a mega company. And I'm going to do a prediction, as not in this session, but in the future, of which company I think is going to be that mega company, that mega
Okay.
star. Like I said, it
Yeah.
could absolutely be Maps that's really guiding this, but there are going to be 8 major players
Yeah.
that are going to be very take control of the industry.
Yep. You know what? I am getting Maps is that star. And I think there's probably some deals going down right now with some big pharma companies talking to Rick, talking to Maps as an organization. And they are going to do something very unique, I feel. It's not going to be your typical acquisition. I think they're going to be able to build almost like a whole new arm of a company. So if it's a big pharma company, they'll build a whole new division specific to this and acquire these 8 companies into it. That's what's coming forward on this. Very, very fascinating.
Yes, and you're going to see these companies do NFTs. You're going to see blockchain. You're going to see structures that we have never seen before. Like you said, totally new, totally different, but it's going to be geared to benefit humanity this
Yeah.
time. And I
So
think
so
that's what makes it so fantastic.
what about the people who have already invested and the shares are low? What does this mean to them versus people who haven't bought in, whether they should buy in now or wait until the acquisitions mergers happen so they can have a better idea of how this new environment is going to look like? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, follow your star. I think that some of the companies, I have my favorites, and we're going to do a top 10 favorites
Yeah.
for psychedelic sages. What are our top 10 investment favorites, and where do we see the energy kind of flowing? So
Yeah.
that got to stay tuned for that, though.
Yes.
But yes, there will be some stars. I think there are some really enlightened leadership in some of these companies. And I think those are the ones that are really going to spiral. and
But
become
what
unicorns.
about the people who have already invested right now?
Okay.
What's happening with, what do we see is going to happen, with those particular companies? We know who the strong players are, and we'll get into the details of who
Yes.
they are in our upcoming episodes, as you said. But just in general, is there any overarching wisdom or knowledge that's coming through?
I think you should hold. I think you should hold at least until January, February. The market is definitely going to go up. I predicted that. So, but it's also a good time to buy.
I was going to
Buy
say,
low
should people
because
buy more?
buy more because the shares are very low right now in some of these companies. And this is like I said, this is when I'm buying. I'm buying now. So they're really cheap. They're really good value, money for value, share for value. But you got to do your homework, and you got to continue to listen to Psychedelic Sages,
Yeah.
because we're going to definitely give you our top 10 investment companies that we think are really going to be stars
Yep.
in this sector.
Yep. All right. Well, anything else that we need to pull a card on in this episode?
I think we did pretty good. I'm just
Yeah.
really excited about the positive energy that's in the sector. We need this. And
Yes.
I know I'm just so glad it's not going down the same old rabbit hole. I thought we were there for a while,
Yeah.
but I'm seriously thrilled that we're not. We're really going to see different types of leadership. I think we're going to see females take a stand and leadership roles. I think the divine feminine is going to have a lot to contribute. I think I'm just really excited, Beth,
Yeah.
about
I am too.
the future of the whole industry
Yes.
moving in the right direction.
Yes, I agree. And Michael Pollan's book and new Netflix series is also a great way to learn a little bit more about psychedelics. And I think his insights are also helping to change, the ideas from the mainstream that this is becoming very mainstream. It's not on the periphery. So, all right, well, tune in to our next episodes, and you're gonna get more juicy tidbits and nuggets, all from multidimensional viewpoints as to what's happening in this marketplace. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. You can get more in-depth information on our Patreon site, Psychedelic Sages.